here, she has the broadcast button.
Okay. Webinar is now broadcasting. Oops, why not supposed to hit it?
Now, we're ready to go.
Excellent.
So let's see, can we see our guests?
Your webinar is now broadcasting. Where do we see our guest?
Hello. We have 8
participants.
attendees.
Yep, there we go. Okay, I got it. I see it.
15, 17.
Oh, well.
Hello.
Cool. Welcome, everyone.
15.
Sorry, we're a little new to this, so we're not coming off with the most polished of starts, but we're getting there. This is our second time. My name is Thomas Stivers. I am with the Austin Lighthouse. Everyone tells me that I look like an alien if I turn my video on, so the video is off, so I don't get too many laughs. So I apologize for that, but the rest of our panelists are able to be seen on the video. We are going to be speaking to you today about the iPhone with a few tips and a few apps that make really using the iPhone very powerful and useful experience for people who are blind or visually impaired. All of us here are employees of the Austin Lighthouse for the Blind, and we are here in partnership with Northwest Hills Eye Care, who have invited us to sort of give these presentations to some of their network of patients and associates, which we're very thankful for. So our panel today consists of myself, Thomas Stivers, training manager at the Travis Association for the Blind, or Austin Lighthouse. We have kind of our silent assistant who is going to be handling the visual presentation. We have a document up on screen that she's managing. Angie Hall, who is the director of training at the Austin Lighthouse. We have Aaron Hoffman, our lead adaptive technology instructor. If you are interested in taking some classes on the iPhone or on any other technology type tool, Aaron will be the person to set up your classes and might be able to give some real in-depth information on the iPhone, Office, and so forth. Next, we have Dan Hart, who's our data systems specialist. He manages our accessibility specialist, sort of specializing in data systems. He makes sure that all the databases and tools we use around the Lighthouse are accessible to people who are blind. We have Terrence Shriver, who's our store clerk. At the Lighthouse, we have an adaptive technology store, and we sell various adaptive aids to our employees and to the community. And Taryn runs that store, makes sure that we're buying the latest and greatest in what our employees, clients, and friends are looking for. Next, we have Yvonne Guzman, who is one of our on-the-job trainers at the Austin Lighthouse. She trains our new employees, trains employees when they change to a new job, and just helps everybody make sure they have a good experience coming to work at the Austin Lighthouse. So I've sort of introduced everybody, and I thank everyone for coming. We have a lot bigger turnout this time than we did last time, so that's very exciting. And welcome. First of all, one of the most useful tools for a brand new iPhone user. You've never picked one up before in your life, and you are thinking, how am I going to deal with this touch screen? I can't see it. It's not talking. What do I do with it? Well, Siri is right there out of the box. You don't have to turn anything on. You just have to hold down the home button or the side button and start talking to the phone. And you can do quite a bit with Siri beyond just asking the time and the weather. So one that I'm gonna, Aaron has reminded me, I need to tell everybody how to engage with us. If you would like to raise your hand to ask a question and you're on a computer, please press Alt-Y. To lower your hand, press Alt-Y again. If you're on a phone, like a telephone, please press *9 and *9 again to lower your hand. To mute yourself or unmute yourself on the computer, press Alt-A. On a telephone, please press *6, and that will turn mute and on and off. Thanks for reminding me about that, Aaron. So first thing I want to find out if I have any text messages. So I just pick up my phone, I hold down the button and say, do I have any new text messages?
You have new messages in 4 conversations. First, Heather Stiver said so in Germany people are wearing pool noodles as hats to enforce social distancing. Would you like to reply?
Yes.
What do you want to say?
That is crazy. At least people are keeping their jobs in the pool industry.
Your message says that it's crazy at least people are keeping their jobs in the pool industry. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, it's sent. Would you like to hear more messages?
Not right now.
Okay.
Do I have any new email?
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first. I'm looking for new email. Sorry, I'm afraid I can't do that.
And that's one thing where Siri can sometimes have some trouble. It will just randomly not work. I know I have new email. I have something like 50 messages. So every now and then you'll get these quirks and you just have to try things again. Do I have any new email?
You have 19 new emails. Here are the latest 3. At 6:18 p.m. Van Land, Robin V. Groups IO sent you an email about Outlook read receipt question. Do you want to hear the next one?
No. Schedule a doctor's appointment for Tuesday, May 26th,
What time is this appointment?
10 a.m.
It's on your calendar for next Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The appointment is called Doctors.
And that's just some of the quick, easy things that I'm able to do using Siri. That's without having turned on VoiceOver or really used it in any way. Also, one of the key uses of Siri for a new iPhone user, or for example, when I pick up my mom's phone to help her use it, is to turn VoiceOver on and off. Turn VoiceOver off.
VoiceOver off. Okay, I turned off VoiceOver.
Turn VoiceOver on.
Okay, I turned on VoiceOver.
And so if I pick up anybody's phone, I can turn VoiceOver on to maybe just look at check their lock screen, check the time, quick basic stuff like that. But it's nice to be able to turn VoiceOver on without actually having to get into settings, because that's hard to do when you can't see the screen. So I suggest to everybody, just try new things with Siri. There's a lot that it can do that isn't necessarily obvious. It can do so much more than tell you what time it is or what the weather is. It can schedule your appointments. You can set reminders. You can set reminders when you leave a place or when you get to a place. You can ask it to remind you when you get to work to check the fridge because you left something in there last weekend or whatever it might be. There's so many things that just with your voice you can tell Siri to do. And with that, another area where the iPhone is very helpful is with managing your health. It can help you keep track of blood sugar and weight and all kinds of things. Aaron Hoffman, our lead adaptive technology instructor, is going to speak a little bit more about what you can do to manage your health using your iPhone.
Thank you, Thomas. My name is Aaron Hoffman. I'm a lead adaptive technology instructor at TAB. And today I'd like to talk to you about the Health app on your iPhone. You have the Health app, which can track many different things about your health. You have your weight, your height, your walking distance, and you can see, there it is, your mindful minutes. You can track many things with the Health app by starting it up in your main screen. And I'll bring up VoiceOver.
VoiceOver on. Settings. Double tap to open. Health. Double tap to open.
We have Health here. I can double tap to go in there.
Summary. Heading.
And when you come in here, you'll have a summary. And if you go right once,
Profile. Button.
you'll have your profile. And your profile will let you set different notes about yourself, gender, age, weight, and you will also have your medical ID. Medical ID is very important for EMS and for emergency personnel. You can set your allergies or blood type information, important things for EMS. And I've been told by EMS faculty that it's really helpful to set it. And when you have your phone in your pocket, it will keep track of your steps. So it's a step counter, a pedometer, and it can keep track of your steps, or if you're running or jogging, it can keep track there. Let's see. And you also have quick totals for walking and running distances. And it can tell you, well, you haven't ran this far as opposed to last week or last month, or you're doing great this week, you're running more miles than last week. So it can keep tracking, it can give you averages and tallies to keep motivated. Let's see. There's also another feature in there called Emergency SOS, which if you press the power button a few times, your phone will start to shake and vibrate, and it will send out an SOS alert to your medical contacts in your contact list. You can designate them for emergency, mother, father, sister, brother, and it'll also call emergency services. And one final thing about health is the health records. You can set and you can track your own health records from your doctor, but you'll also have to think about privacy concerns because you would be carrying those around with you on your phone. So in case someone got access to your phone. And the health app has many different apps from the store that can help track different things. For example, there is a app called My Sugar, MYSUGR, for tracking diabetes blood sugar. And there's also one called Zones to track your heart rate monitoring. And you also have apps like Nike Run Club, NIKE, to track runs. You can set running goals and exercise. You can also just use the pedometer built into the phone to keep a quick track of things. And those are a few tips for keeping active with the health app.
There. Thank you, Aaron. Hopefully I got myself unmuted. And I am not nearly as health conscious perhaps as Aaron. Like okay, every couple of weeks I might put my weight when I check it into my phone. Just a few, quick things, but I do like that it will give me a rough estimate, even though I'm not trying to check on how much I walk, just because I keep my phone in my pants pocket and it always tells me you've walked so many, you've walked 6,000 steps today, or you've walked 10,000 steps today. That means I've had a busy day. It's a really nice thing, even if you're not working real hard to track your health information. So next we have Taryn, who is going to speak a bit about just give an overview of the different accessibility features that are there in settings on your phone. We've talked about VoiceOver because it's kind of the most obvious for those of us who are totally blind, but there's also Zoom and Magnifier. So Taryn, please give us a little more information.
Good evening, everyone. I am Taryn Schriever. I am our store clerk at Travis Association for the Blind, and I will be covering your accessibility features and their settings, and then with a focus on some of the things you can do with VoiceOver. So we already discussed VoiceOver, and it's been demonstrated some for you. It speaks items on the screen, so you can turn it on and it will read your whole screen to you, everything from your home screen to your email list. A next feature is Zoom. Zoom is a magnification app. Very much, it's like if you use Zoom text, you'll understand it magnifies the whole screen. So that means your home screen and all the text and icons are larger, And you can use this app by expanding your fingers to increase zoom and pinching them together to decrease zoom. And this feature is used by a lot of iOS users and people with iPhones and iPads. A next feature that people confuse sometimes is called Magnifier. Magnifier is a feature that uses your phone's camera to magnify things in your external environment. So if you get something in the mail that you need to look at on screen, maybe you're looking for a signature box or just want to try and read it pretty quickly if it's something not too long, you can use your phone's camera, and it can also magnify other objects. And I can think of several applications where you might want to do that. I know that my husband uses that feature all the time. He's always magnifying something with his phone, and it's a nice way to have both a handy device that you can do a lot of things with, everything from banking to fitness tracking, as Aaron pointed out, to GPS navigation, but also have a pocket magnifier when you need something. So those are just the features that you can use that are found in accessibility. To get to accessibility, you are going to go into your settings app, and you are going to scroll down to here, accessibility, and that will take you into this main menu. So I'm a VoiceOver user, so I'm going to talk about a few features that VoiceOver has. By no means will I cover everything, but this to give you an idea of what's available to you. And I'm going to let you hear my phone as I do some of this. So you also, by the way, before I move on, you can set other aspects. There are, just so you know, features for hearing impaired, people who need assistive touch. You can change all of those settings here, and they can also be found in this menu. So now I'm going to open our
Control Center. Display
accessibility menu. I'm hoping you can hear my phone.
Accessibility features help you customize your iPhone for your individual needs.
So now I'm going to go to VoiceOver,
Vision.
which is, you hear Vision heading, and then VoiceOver is your first option.
VoiceOver on.
So I'm going to double tap to open.
Toggle setting.
Now I'm going to leave it on, obviously, because I'm wanting to use it. And we are going to talk about
VoiceOver speaks items on the screen.
VoiceOver Practice.
Tap once to select an item.
Here are instructions. Tap once to select an item.
Double tap to activate the selected item. Swipe 3 fingers to scroll. VoiceOver Practice.
Okay, here's what we're looking for. This is called VoiceOver Practice. I'm going to open it with a double tap.
Practice VoiceOver gestures, commands, and typing in this area. Select the done button in the top right corner and double tap to exit.
So if you are new to the iPhone, which is a lot of us, your gestures are not so perfect yet. This is a great way to work with gestures and learn what you're doing, because it will repeat them. For instance, I'm gonna use the swipe left, and it will tell you what you're doing and tell you what it does.
1 finger swipe right. Move to next item.
Right. Okay, well, yes, move to next item.
1 finger swipe left. Move to previous item.
So you can practice any number of gestures, but one important thing that people have some trouble with is gestures for your rotor setting, which I will cover in just a little bit as well, but I'm going to demonstrate that gesture for you.
2 finger rotate clockwise. Next rotor.
Okay, so when I rotate my fingers clockwise, it moves to the next rotor settings, and the reverse is also true.
2 finger rotate counterclockwise. Previous rotor.
And sorry for those of you who are visually viewing me, I realize I'm holding my phone in front of my face. That just dawned on me. So there's some cool features that you don't necessarily find in settings that I want to show you, just so they know that you know they're available. One of them is to turn speech on and off. So I'm in the music app. I am playing music. I want the clicks for VoiceOver, but I don't want the speech because it just sometimes talks too much. If you have like the skip button already selected and you're careful and you don't move on your screen, you can
3 finger double tap. Toggle mute.
That will toggle your mute. That turns speech on and off. And then you have this wonderful feature.
3 finger triple tap. Toggle screen curtain.
Screen curtain is a feature that will leave your screen black and non-visual. When it is on, your screen is not visually accessible. When it is off, your screen then is visually accessible. I always have screen curtain on. I don't need the screen. So those are just some of the things you can practice here. Any gesture you can do with VoiceOver, you can practice here, and that is incredibly handy. And so now I'm going to click this done button.
Practice voiceover gesture. One
Hey,
finger swing.
Taryn,
Done.
Yes.
you hit a done button, so I figured it was a pausing point. We have a question from one of our guests.
Sure.
Let me make sure they get. I think you should be able to speak, Ben.
He's muted.
Oh. Are you there,
Can you
Ben?
guys hear me?
Yeah, there
There
you
you
are.
are.
Sorry about that.
Hey guys, long time no see. Taryn, I have a question. When you went into that voiceover, when you went to accessibilities, can you just hit Siri and say open accessibility settings?
Yes, you can. That's a great question.
Okay.
You absolutely may do that.
Okay, and then
But you really need to say open settings. It doesn't open things within an app. So you would need to say open settings and then scroll to accessibility.
it actually will open accessibility settings now.
Yeah, it's a special case, I think, there.
Yeah.
You know, I've never tried that.
And for voiceover, for the voiceover practice area, if you four finger double tap, it automatically take you there.
Oh, yeah, it's sort
Yes,
of like
it will. Starting,
enabling
it'll say
keyboard
starting help.
Yeah. Okay. That's all. That was just trying to make sure that, because that's like super simple ways of getting there without having to go through the tabs and through all the formalities.
Cool.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks,
No worries.
Ben. Good to hear from you.
Yep. Hey Thomas, how are you?
Doing great.
Oh boy.
I'm actually.
Go ahead, Taryn.
Hold on one moment. I lost my place. Oh. Okay, so once you have exited VoiceOver Practice, this is where you can customize your settings. Everything from your speaking rate to your punctuation, which is verbosity, stuff like that, is controllable here. So I definitely recommend some exploring. You can also have these in your rotor, which is the two fingers rotated counterclockwise or clockwise. Clockwise to move to next, counterclockwise for previous. You can add and remove things from your rotor in this menu. And I can't remember where it is, but I should, but no. There we go. So your rotor settings, this is where you go to customize VoiceOver for you, right? This whole menu. So you can add and remove things from your rotor here. And it's awesome because, like, if you have volume, speaking rate, links, both visited and unvisited, tables, other things like that, you would go to this menu and add or take them out of rotor by deselecting them. It'll tell you what features are selected. So
Selected. Speaking rate.
Obviously that.
Reorder speaking rate.
And you can move it up or down. You can either hold and drag, or you can simply tap on the item and it will move up.
Selected.
So,
Volume. Reorder volume.
and I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is something you can do here. And it's good to know that this feature is available, because the more you use your phone, the more you're going to want it to do what you want it to do. So that is a huge thing. So definitely explore these menus once you're a little bit more used to your iPhone, and once you turn on the accessibility feature you want. And Ben is correct, you can do it straight from Siri, which is just awesome and easy and wonderful for first-time users. Because if you're not used to a touchscreen phone, it is definitely a different experience. The last thing I want to cover is setting an accessibility toggle. In the bottom of the accessibility menu, if you will, the last thing in this menu is,
Chat timeout.
well,
Double tap caption panel.
oh, I need to go back.
Back button. Accessible.
See, you forget to go back, you find out.
Switch control.
So
Control. Rows 8 to 20.
I want to talk
Accessibility
about
shortcut.
the accessibility shortcut. That is a feature that allows you to triple click the home button to turn on and off accessibility features, which yes, you can use Siri to do, but remember Siri requires an internet connection. This does not require you to be connected to the internet to control your onboard settings, where if you are using Siri, it goes to a server, the server bounces information back at you and performs the task for you. So if you don't have internet or you're not connected to cell service, this is another way you can access these. But if you want to do it quickly, always use Siri. But the toggle button allows you to set it. So I have VoiceOver set. So I'm going to press the home button 3 times.
Voiceover off.
VoiceOver will turn off. I will press it again 3 times.
Voiceover on.
And VoiceOver will turn back on. You can add several things to this if you wanted VoiceOver and Zoom, if you want both auditory accessibility and visual magnification. You could add this in as well. And what will happen is you'll press the home button 3 times. A question will pop up and you will be asked, it'll say something like VoiceOver, Zoom, or cancel. And you select which you want, which I had the trouble of having fun yesterday adding Zoom to it. And I accidentally tapped on Zoom and then I had to tell Siri to turn VoiceOver back on for me. So these are some features that are available to you and certainly can be very helpful in different situations. If you do have something specific that you want help with and settings that you need help understanding, if you reach out to Thomas, he will connect you with me and I would be more than happy to assist you and get you the help you need. So feel free to reach out to us and let us know. Thank you very much. And thank you, Thomas.
All right, thank you, Taryn. And she mentioned right there at the end about the triple click home setting where you can enable different accessibility features. So one big thing I want to point out, if you're a VoiceOver user, you want to keep only VoiceOver enabled for the triple click home because it can drive you crazy to not be able to turn it on and off when you don't have an internet connection. I need 100% way to make sure VoiceOver turns on my phone. I saw a question in the chat. Where is the home button on a iPhone 10? There is not a home button. The side button, like the lock button, replaces some of the home button features, and then a swipe up from the bottom of the screen replaces kind of the other part of the home button's features. So we just don't have a home button on the Windows, or the Windows, oh my gosh, wrong conversation, on the iPhone 10s. If you really like the home button, a lot of people do and don't want to lose the home button and switch to Face ID. That doesn't mean you're stuck with an older phone. The Apple just released the iPhone SE, which is their newest chip, the newest sort of guts for the phone, in an iPhone 8 form factor or shape. My wife has it, she loves it. It's a lot faster than her iPhone 6S that she had before, but it still is exactly the same shape that she's used to. It fit into the same case and everything. So just a quick, it wasn't on the agenda, but the iPhone SE is new and it's cheaper than other iPhones and it works really quite well. Next up, we were gonna start a little bit on apps. Before we switch topics, Ned, I saw that your hand is up. Let me see if I can unmute you. He's here somewhere. Oh. All right, did it unmute?
Muted.
There you are.
Yes.
You had raised your hand. Was that on purpose?
No, I have a question. Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
My Siri has a female voice, and I think I heard your Siri had a male voice.
Yes, sir. I changed mine. It's one of the settings. It's not an accessibility setting. It's just under settings in Siri, and you can choose between male and female, and then you can choose some other accents. A lot of people like the British accent or the Australian accent. It's just a personal preference. Everybody around me has the female voice, so I switched mine to male just to have something a little different.
Okay, so then again, Thomas, I would go into my settings and scroll down to find Siri.
I think it's going to call it Siri and search.
Siri, and then I double tap on that, and then that should open it up.
And one of the options in that list will then be Siri voice female, and you can switch it to Siri voice male.
Okay. Okay.
Cool,
Thank you.
You bet. There you go.
Hey, Thomas.
I'm gonna put my hand down now.
All right. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, also something for the male-female voice. Some folks that have any kind of hearing impairment might be able to hear a lady's voice versus a gentleman's voice, just depending on their hearing loss, as well as the accents. Some accents people can pick up on a little bit differently as well. So if that's something that folks have an issue with, as far as understanding Siri itself, you can play around with those different settings, and one of those might help you out to be able to hear her or him a little bit better.
Exactly. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna move on. We've covered a few of the basics of what's built into the iPhone. We're gonna move on to talk about a couple of apps. Our first app, and it's kind of a Swiss Army knife. It does just a little bit of everything, but it really does it very well. It can replace probably the app I'm about to cover, Seeing AI, could replace probably $300 worth of apps when I first bought my iPhone, because there was some expensive scanning apps and barcode systems, labeling systems, and things that may cost $10, $20, $30 and stuff like that. So it really adds up. And this app is made by Microsoft, completely free. It's actually made by Microsoft, I believe, in a partnership, or at least sort of with the at the request of the Seeing AI, the Guide Dog School, or the Seeing Eye, pardon, and the app is called Seeing AI. And Yvonne Guzman is going to give us a demonstration of what Seeing AI can do. Go for it, Yvonne.
Good afternoon, or I guess good evening. I kind of lost track of time there. But yeah, Thomas is right. Seeing AI has quite a few different modes that you can use to help with just about anything, depending on what you're wanting to get assistance with. Anything from just reading a small bit of text from like a mail envelope, or a whole document, or just wanting to see what's around you and things like that. So I'm going to try my best to cover all the modes that Seeing AI has as best as I can, and feel free to ask any questions as we go along. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock my phone. Open Seeing AI. And the first mode that it automatically goes to, sorry, it's going crazy. As soon as you open the app, is short text. So this mode is used for, like I said, if you want to read like a small group of text, or just kind of briefly read something just to identify something. So right now I'm going to try this on a document that I actually have that has information on one of the departments we have in training. So this is for the adaptive technology. So I have it in short text mode right now, and I have I'm going to hold the phone over the document like a few inches above from it.
Hey, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Are you able to, I don't know if it will be possible, but are you able to hold the phone a little closer where it's pretty hard to hear, or maybe and also maybe slow down your speech?
Slow down the speech. Okay. Yeah, hang on. I'm going to go ahead and mute for a few seconds while I work on that. I'm sorry.
So Yvonne's been using VoiceOver for a long time. She has her speech, I think, turned up as fast as VoiceOver will go. A lot of us do that are screen reader users. So that's why it sounds a little like gibberish, and the microphone on her laptop is maybe not the greatest. I think she's in a large room with not a whole lot of carpeting and padding around her. So that's just something you have to learn to love with the Zoom calls.
Okay, so yeah, it is kind of echoey here in my apartment. So I'm gonna try this again. I did slow it down a bit, so hopefully you guys can understand it a bit easier. So again, it's in short text mode. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my phone. I have it laying flat on my table, so it's not talking while I'm talking. And the camera is going to read bits and pieces of what I have here on the paper. So I'm gonna do this.
Manager, fundamentals, iOS, fundamentals up, Android, fundamentals up, Microsoft Office, the blind 78,744, Technology Manager, House ORQI, Technology ins Lighthouse.org.
So you guys able to hear that okay?
Yep, it came through. It's kind of confusing because it was.
Yeah,
it is
confusing. One thing I do kind of have a hard time with when reading or using the short text mode is I think my hand is still, but the camera kind of reads all over the place. So it kind of takes a while to sometimes comprehend exactly what it's reading. It just sounds like it reads everywhere. So it was kind of reading bits and pieces of the document. And then sometimes I'll move the phone up a bit farther, and then it gets more information and tries to get a little bit clearer.
And when they say short text mode there, they really do mean it.
Yeah.
The shorter it is, the better this mode is going to work. For the document you're reading, there's actually, I know you're about to cover it. There's a mode sort of specifically for full pages. Short text is really for 3 or 4 words in one quick go. Ben, did you raise your hand? You had a question?
Short text also works really good for me when you hold it over it and then you take it and just lay your iPhone down on its screen. After it catches the words, you don't have to hold it there, because if you're holding it, your hand's gonna kind of wobble a little bit and it's gonna like mess up the reading. But if you just hold it and get it real good, real quick, and then just set it down, it'll just read it just perfectly for you.
Like Thomas said, it's really used for reading, short text and things like that. I use it a lot for identifying certain things, maybe here in the kitchen or anywhere here in my apartment. So this is just an example that I'm using.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great app. I use it every day. It's a great app. I use it every day.
I use it to read like mail, to read the address. But if I actually open it and want to read the whole piece of paper, then I probably use document mode, which I think is what Yvonne's going to speak about next.
Yes. Document is the next one that I'm going to read or go over. So what you do to change modes is you'll go to where, hold on, it's still trying to read. You'll go on the bottom of the screen where it has the name of the mode that you're currently in. And then you want to swipe up with one finger, and I'll use my thumb. So now it says it's in document mode. So this I kind of practiced with earlier this morning because it's kind of a hit or miss deal. But I find it easier when you stand up and then just try and hold the phone. And as soon as it gets it, it'll automatically take a picture of the document, and then it'll either, you can read it by swiping across the screen. Or it has its own little screen reader that can read exactly what it captured. And it may not capture everything, but it'll get a huge block of the text, and you can always try again. But it's kind of cool that as soon as it thinks it, has the good majority of the text, it'll, again, like it just did, tell you to hold the phone still and then snap the picture automatically. And then you also have the option to take a picture manually yourself if you think you have the camera in a good position to read the text. So there is that one, the document mode. And you also have the option in document to save what you snapped in this app. So you can save it to your phone in case you need it for something else, or if it's something important that you need to use at a later time, then you also have that option to save it to your phone. So that's kind of a good thing to have as well. The next mode is product. And I actually just started using this recently, and it's kind of come in handy. What this mode does is you take a product and you scan the barcode and it tells you what the product is. So I have a couple of things here that I can test this on to kind of demonstrate how it works. And it kind of works the same way. The camera has to kind of scan the barcode. And one way to let you know when you're close to a barcode is it makes this sound. See, and it scanned it. It's a salted caramel brownie mix, Betty Crocker. So I was able to identify this without even opening the box to, you know, feel the bag or have someone tell me what it is. So that's pretty helpful. And then let's see, we'll try it on this one. So now I have another box that I'm going to try and scan. And this takes, sometimes it takes longer than other times.
You kind of feel like you won a prize when you get that
Kinda,
scan to happen.
yeah. And for me, actually, I have a lot of boxes in my pantry because I bake a lot, and so a lot of them feel pretty much alike. And so this is where this comes in handy. And right now it's not cooperating. See, it sounds like it will, and then it kind of is like, it's like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think we're not, you might want to move on to the next one from that. I don't
Okay.
think that product is cooperating.
Yeah, and it was, I promise it was at one point, but it's not now. So, okay, it's a box of cookies. But yeah, as long as you have an idea, because different boxes have barcodes in different areas. So it takes a lot of patience sometimes when using that. But it does work when it wants to. It works pretty good. And then, so the next one is person. So this is actually pretty cool. I was playing around with this yesterday and this morning. So what this does is it kind of works like the actual camera on the iPhone. It tells you when you have someone's face. And see, it recognizes me because it this feature has a kind of a facial recognition option where it lets you take 3 pictures of yourself, and then you can name that person that you're taking pictures of. So anytime you want to look or use this feature on Seeing AI, it'll always recognize you or that person that you saved. And I think this also works too on maybe some pictures that you have saved on your phone. So say you're in a picture and you look at it through this, it'll say Yvonne with I haven't really tried it, but I think that it'll say that, you know, you're in that picture. So it's kind of cool. And it also does this kind of really nice thing where you take a picture of maybe someone that you don't have saved in the app, and it'll kind of say, it guesses your age, which could be pretty comedic sometimes.
Well, let's see. It's nice for some of us. It's not as nice for others. Yvonne, I believe it thought was 28.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is nice. Me, it thought was 45, so that's less
yeah,
nice.
and I think my roommate tried it, and it said he was 40. So, yeah, it.
So buyer beware if you try that.
Yeah. And actually, this morning I was trying to have it focus before I saved my name to the app, and I think I had a hard time telling what gender I was, which is really interesting.
You know, life happens.
Yeah. So, but
were you going to speak a bit, give a quick demo of the currency? Do you have any?
Yes.
Okay. I think you got past those in the order of the thing, so I just was checking.
Yeah, currency was after that.
Oh, you have yours. Did you change your order?
No, I didn't know that was possible.
Oh, did I? Okay. All right, rock on.
Okay, so currency, as Thomas said, is another one of the modes on here, and which is kind of cool because I actually bought a money reader app before this app came out, but it's kind of nice to have a second option to use. So this is actually pretty accurate. So I'm going to try it out here. Hold the phone over one bill.
20 US dollars.
So, yeah, it's 20 US dollars. And try it again.
$10 US.
So yeah, it's pretty accurate. And I even double checked with the other app I have to make sure it was accurate, and it is. So this is also a pretty reliable feature on Seeing AI. It's pretty helpful. So for this app to be a free app, it does a lot. Next mode we have here is Scene Preview. And that, it kind of works like the person mode. So you just kind of point your camera at something and take a picture, and it kind of gives you an idea as to what you took a picture of. So let's see, I have my laptop here and see what it says.
Processing. A laptop computer sitting on top of a desk.
See? So that was pretty accurate. I haven't really tested this out much anywhere else other than just quick, short pictures at work. And for the most part, it's kind of accurate. Let's see, try over here in my living room and see what it says.
Close. Button. Channel. Scene take picture. Button. Process. Share. Button. A brown leather couch in a living room.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Although our couch isn't leather, but I mean, close enough. So yeah, it describes things as best as it can, and it works better than I thought it would. So that's kind of a neat feature here too. The next one we have is color. Now this, I'm not really, most color identifier apps on the phone, or on iOS at least, because I've only used it, are not very accurate, and this is one of them. So this is one of two modes that I don't think are very reliable for Seeing AI, but I don't think that really dampens the other features that this app has. Everything else still works pretty well. But if you do use the color mode on this one, I'd probably get a second opinion if you have someone who has some vision, or any other way to, I guess, second guess your color, or to kind of make sure that it's correct or accurate. I would probably do that. So, because I've tested it out a couple times, and it's a lot of times it's nowhere near the actual color. I know some people may use it for clothes or something like that, and the Seeing AI color identifier is probably not good for that. And then the other feature that I haven't really had much experience with is the handwriting mode, where this mode could possibly read someone's handwriting. And the few times I have used it, it was non-recognizable, or I think that's what it said.
I don't know anyone who writes that neatly myself.
Yeah, it just, and I think it would be hard to recognize handwriting because everyone writes differently.
It
so.
definitely is.
Yeah.
It's taken so many years for them to finally get there. So.
Yeah, so that the color identifier and the handwriting modes, I think, are the two that aren't very useful in this app. The next one after this is one that comes in handy a lot. It's the light detector. So what it does, as soon as you go, I'm covering it with my hand right now, so it's not going, or it is, but it's really low. Basically, it starts playing a pitch. So the higher the pitch is, the brighter the light is, the lower the pitch is, the darker the light is. And we were actually just talking about this before the meeting started. I use it a lot at work. So when I'm covering in the store for Taryn, sometimes there are people who may go in there and before I do and turn the light on. So, and a lot of times at work, our offices have censored lights, so they'll go off by themselves and we never know it. So this comes in handy to make sure that you're somewhere where there is lighting or no lighting. So I'm going to take my hand off. And I have my phone facing one of our windows, so the pitch went up a little bit. And I'm going to turn it the opposite direction. And it's going lower towards our hallway, so it's a bit darker. And then now it's facing our kitchen, so it's kind of the same, it's a little darker. So, and then back to our window, so now the pitch is higher. And that's kind of pretty much another one I think is really good to use too. It comes in handy a lot. So that's kind of a preview of the different modes on Seeing AI and what you can use them for.
Very cool, thank you so much. That light detector doesn't seem so useful if you can see even just a little bit of light. But if you are totally blind and want to make sure you turn all the lights off when you go to bed so you don't waste electricity, that's great. And if you want to make sure somebody hasn't left the light on in your house for the last 6 months and nobody's told you, that's also handy. So we had a couple extra things, but I think we filled up our time pretty good. So I'm going to just quickly mention, I was going to talk about apps for reading books. And so I think that can be a topic that we may cover in depth, and maybe, we could spin off some kind of book club. We'll see from there. But there's a lot of great apps for reading audiobooks and for reading electronic textbooks, such as iBooks. You've got the Bard mobile app, which has all the free books that you can get through the Texas Talking Book program. And they can all be downloaded to your phone. You can carry dozens of books at any given time. Then we've got, there's one called Overdrive that lets you download books from the public library that the tradition that the same audiobooks that sighted people might download. There's LibriVox, which has audiobooks of a lot of classics. So there's so many ways to get reading material on your phone. And I just wanted to mention that that's an option. I saw a hand go up.
Diane has her hand up.
Diane, I saw your question. Is there a way to read text that somebody has shared on the computer screen in Zoom? If it's through the chat window, yes. If it is shared, like we have right now a Word document that is shared on the screen in this meeting, it is not possible for a screen reader user to read that text. I'm ready to send that Word document out to people after the meeting. And then when we get it published up to our webpage, we'll publish the document, sort of the agenda and notes alongside the recording of this meeting. So we will try to make it available as quickly as we can but unfortunately, that's just we haven't found a tool that lets you see those screen shares directly. It drives me crazy all the time at work because I have to tell people I need them to send me PowerPoints before the meeting if they want me to keep up during the meeting. Because once the meeting starts, it's already really too late. Lastly, Dan, can you give a real quick run through, a quick overview of some apps for podcasts?
Good evening, everybody. Absolutely. So first and foremost, I am not actually an iOS user. I'm actually an Android user. So I'm going to do the best I can here, folks. So for iOS, I will tell you that the folks that I have talked to that are on the iOS platform actually really it's been one particular app comes to mind almost every single time, and that is Overcast. I believe with Overcast you can navigate by chapters, you can speed up, you can slow down your podcast, you can skip, you can 30 seconds, you can do a lot of different things there in Overcast. You can set it up to catch as many podcasts as you want. It's also very accessible. Also, the built-in podcasts into iOS, I understand, is extremely, it's very accessible as well. Those are the two main podcatchers that I personally have heard of out on the iOS platform. This is actually going to be a bit of a segue into our next particular session, which is going to be on Android tips and tricks. You've got several different podcatchers that are actually cross-platform. Spotify is one of the ones that I know is cross-platform. Stitcher, I believe, is also cross-platform. And then when we start getting into the Android apps, the three that I have used, AntennaPod, BeyondPod is very accessible with TalkBack and Voice Assistant. The one that I personally currently use is Podcast Addict is very, very accessible. And I've actually emailed the developer of that app and they've been very responsive to making things accessible. So just like the audiobook readers, podcatchers, that can actually be a topic all in and of itself. So with that being said, I'll turn it back over to you there, Thomas.
All right, very cool. Thank you, Dan. You got off lightly on this one. You didn't have to say too much, but we'll make up for that next time when we get. I would say all about Android, but somebody already has that podcast title, so I don't want to get in trouble. When we get all over Android, it doesn't ring as well, but it'll work. And you'll get to take the floor a lot more because most of our panel have mainly been iOS users. I have an Android device. I used it for a year and it just didn't connect with me. So I kind of went back to the iPhone. So, but I know we have a lot of people who are Android users and really want to learn and get comfortable on that platform. And I know it can work. It just didn't happen to connect for me. We have very little time left. If anybody has any quick questions or remarks or suggestions for future topics, if you've got something that you can say in just a couple words, now's the time. If you want to make any suggestions, requests, and so forth, please send me an email at thomas.stivers@austinlighthouse, that's all one word, .org. I saw in the chat somebody saying they're, I believe, looking forward to learning all about Android for the next time. So that's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. And Angie has also put my email address in the chat. It should be in the message you got for when you registered for this webinar. So thank you so much for that. Sorry, we did run a little tight, but I don't see a whole lot of hands being raised. So it sounds like we're not getting flooded with questions this time. Oh, did see a hand go up. Let me get over there.
I think you did get another voter for Android.
Miss Carolina has a question.
Can we get a copy of your handout of the agenda? Or, I mean, I think there's good information there that we can save for future reference.
Yes. When we're going to publish the recording of this meeting, and we'll put the handout up with the recording, as well as if you send me an email at the address I just mentioned, thomas.stivers, S-T-I-V as in Victor, E-R-S, at austinlighthouse.org. I'll be glad to send that out to anybody. I have it as soon as you want it. Let's see, another hand went up.
We have Ben. Let me unmute him. Go ahead, Ben.
Blind Mice Mega Mall is really, really good for audio descriptive movies. All of their movies are newer and they have plenty of movies there for this time.
That might be a topic for us to cover in the future too, is finding those descriptive movies. The number of places you can get them is always getting a little bit bigger, and that's a great thing. I remember when the only place I could find them was MP3 files shared amongst friends, and now I can find them in a lot of different places. So that might be something, how to find those described movies. Thanks for the idea there, Ben.
And another tab is, Thomas, I'm gonna make this quick. CNAI, if you're on Facebook or any other thing that has a picture or a text that's not described, if you hit share and go over to CNAI and it'll say recognize with CNAI, you click on it, it'll read it to you.
Yeah, that's cool. If you're trying to figure out what somebody's meme picture says, you can at least get some idea. You're probably not going to figure out that it's a dog on a surfboard or something like that, but you can get a hint of what's being shown. So that's
even with written text as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
All right, last question. We have Bruce on next.
Hi, good evening from South Florida. You guys did a great job presenting. I'm not a beginner user, but I wanted to echo what your last person just said about this seeing AI in terms of using it with Facebook. It does work great for the looking at images and pictures. I use it for that mostly. And another thing, if you want to look at the VoiceStream series of apps such as VoiceStream Reader and VoiceStream Scanner, they are paid apps, but they're well worth a discussion and work really well. And I think even better than seeing AI for the VoiceStream Scanner. And thanks for letting me jump in.
Awesome, thank you, Bruce. I have not used VoiceStream's. I use VoiceStream Reader a whole lot. It's been around for a long time. VoiceStream Scanner is pretty new. I have it, but I haven't used it very much. So I just wasn't ready. I don't know enough to really talk about it. But it's something I want to learn. I want to play around with a little bit more. And I've heard from several people that it may be the new best scanning app for iOS. So that's a pretty neat thing for a app that's really not that expensive. With that, I thank everybody for coming. This has been a really awesome turnout. And we are going to wrap it up. We are going to have a presentation on Android, which we will send out email reminders to everyone who registered. It's going to be in 2 weeks. So that'll be on the 2nd of June. Hope to see everyone here and invite all your friends. Hopefully we'll hit the 100 participant limit and have to get a bigger Zoom. That's always sort of a nice achievement to make in these things. Thank you so much and have a great evening.